Um, Mr. Omatayo Uluwashim, you are welcome to this session. I'm happy to.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you on. Today we will be discussing the statement of the questions that we did use previously for our quiz and the statement of the answers. Then we'll be able to reason out those that are correct and those that are not correct in the options in the statement of answers, so that our students who participated in the program will be guided on how to answer subsequent quiz questions. So the objective is to really look at the statement of the questions and how they relate with the options and how the statement of the answer matches the expectation of the question maker, the question designer. Now we'll begin with the one we had most recently. Now let us look at number one. That question was posed to one of our participants in the quiz, virtual quiz competition. And the question reads thus: acrylic component of an auto appliance is colored to promote aesthetics for the patient. Now, you know, generally, auto appliances are usually colored, but the color makes sense when we're talking about pediatric patients. Now, several options were given, but it is likely that the participants who got this question might not know that the main fact about this question is the color aspect and about the aesthetics, the color and the aesthetics. But you know, auto appliances are not expected to promote any kind of aesthetics. Or what do you think? Because this is your area of interest, I know.
Yeah, the acrylic plates of auto appliances are not supposed to promote aesthetics, but to foster acceptance on the part of the patients who are supposed to wear it. It's supposed to entice the patients and not to make the onlookers see a kind of natural look of probably something attractive. It's not for those onlookers outside, but it's for the wearer of the appliance to find a kind of excitement. Of course, for pediatric patients, that's children now, they should be excited to put it on and then, you know, fascinated to put it on in their mouth. So that's the whole essence of coloring the acrylic plates of orthodontic appliances. Meanwhile, aesthetics, on the other hand, is supposed to be something that depicts the natural look of any parts of the oral cavity. So I'm not sure aesthetics is something that is needed in the acrylic plates, but the kind of coloring that attracts the patient, that's what is needed.
Okay, you're very right. So that is why anyone who is knowledgeable about auto appliances will quickly pick in the question, the statement of the question, what the question designer is aiming at. Auto appliances are not expected to promote aesthetics, as you said, but to act as an attraction to the patient. And mostly the patients that are targeted when you color the auto appliances base plate are children. So usually color, yes, adult may get attracted, but children are more attracted. Now let us look at the options. A, patients generally are attracted to colorful auto appliances, especially labially. What do you pick from there?
I didn't get that well. Patients generally are attracted to auto
Colorful,
appliances.
especially labially.
Colorful, especially labially.
Yes.
Well, it has nothing to do with the
You're right. That's why that question is wrong.
yeah, it's wrong. The option is wrong.
Because uh, there isn't labia or any need labia extension of
The
the base plate.
yes.
Everything when you're dealing with the upper, for example, anything called base plate has to be within the palatal area. So
Yeah.
when anybody who listens to this answer, the statement or answer A, and say colorful water appliances, especially labially, we know that that is quite wrong, and will not look at the option as a right answer. Let me give you another one.
Yes.
The
Okay.
number B said patients like it when the palatal aspect is colored white.
It's colored white.
White.
Well, that's wrong because it's not attractive if it's transparent. But when it has things that make it glitter, things that make it shine, things that entice children, like um, kind of diagram, a drawing, whatever that entices children, then it would be better off than having something just transparent and, of course, quite boring for children. So
Now
I think that option
is wrong.
is
Yes. You agree with me that it is not transparent, they're colored white. You see how tricky it is. We don't have
yeah,
white acrylic base. We can have transparent, isn't it? So any student that sees this one, we know that colored
that
white is wrong.
is wrong. It's supposed to be transparent.
Transparent. Okay. Let me look at number C option now. Children prefer colorful denture more than older patients. What is your opinion about that option?
Well, when it comes to orthodontic appliances, basically, mostly for children, colors is what you have to incorporate to entice them. And of course, when you talk about older patients, you don't have to entice an older patient before he or she knows that I need this appliance to make myself look better on the oral aspect. So I think it's quite obvious to know that children, of course, would prefer colorful orthodontic appliances to the adults. So that option should be a correct answer.
I'm happy. I'm very happy. Then the last one, which we don't need to discuss, is all of the above. Of course, all of the above that we have discussed, the three options A, B, C, cannot all be the answer to this question. So
Yes.
that option C is the correct answer. Now you see that from this our discussion, the statement of the question, the statement of each of the options given, the most suitable one is that children prefer colorful dentures more than older patients. Now, I pick a hole there. It shouldn't have been colorful denture. It should have been
Okay.
colorful auto appliance.
Okay. That's right.
You got my point?
Yes, sir.
Aha. So it should be colorful auto appliance. I think I will right away correct that one because we'll see you can use it in future. But it is the question, I mean, the option is implying that we are talking of auto appliance. So anyone who is picking that option will ordinarily know that the colorful dash you refer to is an auto appliance. So that is about that question 1. Now let's move briefly to question 2. I will read the option now. Question 2 says, tooth movement is a long process and hence auto treatment should be encouraged among young patients. What is your take on that?
Yeah, if the treatment, if orthodontic treatment is supposed to be effective, then early childhood treatment is very, very much important because at adulthood, the muscles around the teeth seem to be more healthier, and unlike when they are tender at childhood. And so it takes a longer process to move the tooth through a catabolic process now, a muscular catabolic process in adults as compared to children. In children, they still have tender muscles, and so definitely it's quite easy to move the teeth, whichever tooth or the teeth that is to be moved.
So the statement of the question is apt.
Correct. Yeah.
Which means tooth movement is a long process and hence auto treatment should be encouraged among young patients. Now the option. A, to save cost of treatment. Is it really meant to save cost of treatment? Will it affect cost of treatment?
Well, I think it's going to affect. No, it's not going to affect cost of treatment. It's not. I'm not sure it will affect it because in adults, you wear it once, and then if there is need for you to change it to something else, you change it. The only thing it affects is, I think, the time of treatment. The time of treatment, because if you have to use 2 appliances to effect the movement of a tooth, in children it will take a faster time, but in adults it will take a longer time. But the appliances, of course, will still be at the same rate. So I want to believe the cost of treatment is not to be considered. It's not to be considered.
But I'm different.
Well, that's my opinion, sir.
Yeah, I'm different. I'm different from that position. And this is my line of argument. If we have 2 patients, for me to help do an auto appliance for, now, as an individual, you have to evaluate all that will be involved, both in fabrication of the appliance and in the period that it will take you for movement to be achieved. If, for example, patient A is just 16 years and patient B is 45 years, I already know that the number of times the patient of 45 years will have to come to me, that is post-insertion treatment evaluation, the number of times he has to come or that are needed to adjust my auto appliance will be higher for the patient of 60 years old. I know a lot of factors will play out that may sort of make this option not very, the statement I made now, not very correct, that all the older patient will come many times more than the younger patient before result is achieved. But you look at it, that the tendency for the older patient to come more times, to need more post a session attention will be more for an older patient compared with a younger patient. You already said now that I think you mentioned the word catabolic movement. You looked at the movement of the older person of a tooth for an older person will take longer time. So tooth movement is a long process, and hence auto treatment should be encouraged among younger patients. It will help to save treatment. To save cost of treatment. Now, let us keep that somewhere and look at the second option. To add value to lab work.
To add value to landmark.
To lab work, to laboratory work.
Okay.
Now, does he add, does this statement have any correlation with the statement of the question? Let me read the statement of the question so I can evaluate it again.
Okay.
Tooth movement is a long process, and hence, auto treatment should be encouraged among young patients. The statement of the question already admitted that auto treatment takes long time, and also has asserted that it should be encouraged among young patients. That doesn't mean that it cannot be encouraged in older patients. But the emphasis in the statement of the question is that it should be encouraged among young patients. Now, the first option is to save cost of treatment. And I've already said to you before now that to save cost of treatment is an option of relevance, especially when you are comparing an older patient with a younger patient. Then the second one that we want to discuss now is to add value to lab work. How much of this statement is relevant to the statement of the question to you?
Well, I don't think treatment of orthodontic patients in children mostly now, as compared to adults, as any way in which, well, we might say that it draws people's attention, of course, to the laboratory, because of course you see patients coming around and then getting to smile out of the lab. You know, the younger patients, they kind of get excited when their parents take them out of the lab, and then they feel so excited. Of course, it attracts outsiders to the lab. Probably there is something enticing about that place. Well, we might say that. But on the contrary, I'm not sure there is so much significant value that it adds to the lab when treated in children as compared to adults.
Okay, when we look at adding value to lab work, what kind of value are we talking about? To add value to lab work. For me, I think I agree with you. What kind of value are we talking about? Monetary value, or quality of materials value, or whatever value? To me, I don't see that option as correct.
There's nothing.
No value, no value. Now let us look at option C. Both of the above. That is, both to save the cost of treatment and to add value to lab work. Of course, we disagree with B, which means both of the above cannot be a correct answer. Then option D. Neither save cost nor save time, but for the strength of stainless steel wire to be tested.
Neither saves cost nor save time, but for the strength of stainless steel wire to be tested.
Yes.
Well, in children, it saves time. So of course, you can't say it doesn't save time. So that makes that option very wrong, because it saves time. in children as compared to adults.
It will also save cost.
Yeah, it saves cost.
What I mean cost is that because any patient, any data professional that is dealing with a case will look at post insertion evaluation, the time it will take for result to be achieved. Even though you cannot determine that accurately, but you can assume that usually for older patients it will take longer time. So if you look at answer that we can probably fix for this statement of question, which of them do you pick?
Yeah, I'll go for option A. I think
Option
that's
A.
what.
Option A is the answer that we surely give response, appropriate response to that statement. That tooth movement is a long process, and hence auto treatment should be encouraged among young patients. That is
Yeah.
to save cost of treatment. I think I align with you perfectly. And if you see the question, the answer we gave, the answer the student gave, though
Yes.
incorrect, but our option here is equally not correct. At least, what I mean is that the answer we mark as correct is not correct.
Okay.
That lend credence to the fact that questions should be considered very well, compared and discussed very well before they are placed for quiz. I admit that that is very important in our work. Okay, that is about that. And we have, of course, been able to learn a lesson there. Now, let me go to number 3. Oh, do you have any other comments you want to make about that?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I said you have an additional statement to add to what I just said about question 2.
Not at all. You've said it all, sir.
Okay. Okay, happy. Okay, let me go to number 3. Number 3 said refractory materials collapse when subjected to temperatures beyond its capacity. What is your take on the interpretation of that statement of question?
Okay. Of course, refractory materials are supposed to be materials that can, as much as they're not supposed to collapse when subjected to any sort of temperature. They are supposed to be materials that can withstand it very well. No matter the temperature you subject them to, they should be able to withstand it.
No, that is not correct. For example, if gypsum bonded that's between 900 to 1000 degrees centigrade is subjected to temperature of 2000 or 3000, what happens?
Oh, that's true. That's true. They have their various temperature
Limits.
range. Actually,
Yes.
that was a nice
Okay.
temperature range. So,
Yeah, you're right. Refractory materials collapse when subjected to temperatures beyond its capacity. The word beyond its
yes.
capacity, and I mean the phrase there. Okay, you
Yeah.
didn't consider that.
I didn't consider that. I didn't hear that. I didn't take note of that.
Okay. So when its temperature capacity is exceeded, it will definitely collapse. But because in the lab, we already know the capacity of our refractory materials. And we also look at the temperature, the melting temperature of the alloy we're going to use. We compare these two when we're making choice of the investment material we're going to use. I mean, the alloy we're going to use. And then okay, sorry, I'm missing it up now. What I meant is that when we are considering gypsum bonded, you
Yes,
are
sir.
trying to see that the temperature is not
Okay, sir.
exceeded. But of course, you know that the alloy will have to be heated separately.
Yes.
The ring will go into the oven
The
and get
oven.
heated. We regulate our the temperature of our oven, and so that we can get the wax off. So then again, we return and ensure that if we are using centrifugal casting machine, we return and see that look, the alloy is also heated. So, but refractory material now, we're talking of the investment material. So, but when it is heated beyond its capacity, in event, for example, the Delta Technologies made mistake of exceeding the temperature range, is definitely going to run into a problem.
I guess that was the network. I think he.
Okay, you can hear me
Okay.
now.
Yes,
Yes.
I can hear you now.
Yeah, where we stopped before that interruption, I was talking about the refractory material that if it's just some bonded, of course, we are getting rid of the casting wax. So, in events, the data technologies didn't take note of the temperature that it has to work. I mean, the temperature of the investment material it has to work with, and if he set it beyond its capacity, of course, it's going to collapse. And when it does, you
Yes.
know, the entire exercise is a failure. Now, if that is not exceeded, it means that the what is it called? The investment, I mean, the whole exercise will be a success. Then that's talking about number 3. And let me give you the options now. The option A is this is true only if it is gypsum bonded. What's your take on that? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Did you get my response, sir? Hello, sir. I guess you have network issues, sir.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, sir.
Okay, sorry. That I'm using Wi-Fi, and because call was coming in, it was interrupting the internet. But that's sorted out now. Okay. We are going further on our discussion. Then the first option to that question, if you remember the question, is this is true only if it is gypsum bonded.
Of course, that's as I earlier stated that's wrong because it's not only gypsum bonded investment material that can shatter when it exceeds its temperature.
You're
Also
right.
bonded silicon.
Okay. Of course, that is correct. Now let us look at, I mean, your statement is correct. that it is not only true for gypsum bonded, it's true also for other materials. Now, let us look at option B. This is true for all investment materials.
Yeah, it's very true for all investment materials because they all have their specific temperature range. So that's correct, sir. The outcome is correct.
Okay, I'm happy. I'm happy about that because the answer came very straight for anyone who understands this. I'm not sure during the quiz competition that this question was gotten right. Now, without going, let me go to the third option. Of course, we already know the right option, but let me go to the third option so that we can look at it together. He said this is true if a tin mix is used during investment.
Well, it doesn't matter if you use either a tin, a thick mix. What I believe is whether it's an investment material, you will definitely set before you place it in the oven. And so long it's set, you will definitely show its refractory material. I mean refractory ability rather. When placed in the oven.
Okay. Yes. Regardless of whether it is thin or not, it is definitely not a statement of answer that is correct with this. And the last option is none of the above. Of course, we know that none of the above is not a correct answer. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Let's go to the fourth one. I think we will not be able to consider more than 5 questions because we have gone far. But we're in the fourth one now. By the time we're done with the fifth, we'll close this session. Now, let me read the statement of the question for the fourth one. Opacity is the study of colors. Sorry, opacity in the study of colors refers to A. Of course, opacity is. I want to comment about opacity. Can you still hear me? Are you there? Oh, he has lost connection. Of course, opacity means you cannot see through an object. You cannot see through it. It is not possible for you to see through an object. So whatever that is lying beneath that object cannot be visible to the eyes, to the physical eyes. And the option here is A, making your tooth material such that the color will not distort despite the angle at which you view it. The angle at which you view an object does not in any way contribute to the opacity. And opaque, when you use an opaque material, is to conceal the underneath color. So whether you're viewing it at any angle is of no relevance. That option A is not correct. Then let's look at option B. Option B says imperviousness of color to light source. Of course, imperviousness means that color cannot go through, which explains the answer, the statement of the question, and that is the correct answer. Let's look at C. C says reflection of colors from light source. Of course, that does not explain opacity. And D, making your dye very dark to conceal colors you don't want to show. That, of course, is not correct. These are different ways of weighing the questions. You weigh questions and you weigh the options. You try to correlate the statement of the question with the statement of answers, and from there, you are able to discover exactly the option that matches the statement of the question. This is what we'll be able to do over time concerning our quiz competition. My partner is offline now, and we will be able to close this session now so that we'll proceed another time. I hope this helps our student who will take subsequent quiz questions to weigh question very well and statement of answers before making an option. Thank you. Bye-bye.